Pinball Dreams is a pinball simulation video game developed by Digital Illusions and originally released for the Amiga in 1992. The game's 4 tables each have a theme, as do most real-life pinball and pachinko machines. The 4 tables are Ignition, themed around a rocket launch, planets and space exploration; Steel Wheel, themed around steam trains and the Old West; Beatbox, themed around the music industry, charts, bands and tours; Nightmare, themed around a graveyard, ghosts, demons, nightmares and generally evil things. The version of Pinball Dreams bundled with the Amiga 1200 had a bug, which rendered most of Beatbox's advanced features non-functional. Pinball Dreams is the first in the series, which came before Pinball Fantasies and Pinball Illusions. Amiga fans consider this to be an amazing game. What do you think? Spidersoft ported Pinball Dreams to the PC running under MS-DOS, and what a great port it is! We get the same 4 tables from the Amiga game, but now they have the option of running in a much higher resolution, and for those with a compatible sound card, such as the Sound Blaster 16, you could have higher quality audio too. The music and effects are the same as the Amiga, but now just at a higher resolution. Playability wise, all is good too. There is no difference between playing this port and the original. Spidersoft were also behind this Game Boy release. Now while this may be missing the Beatbox table and the Nightmare table has been renamed to Graveyard, this is still a very impressive port. Yes, the frame rate is low and yes, the tables look quite barren. However, I really enjoy the way this port plays. The ball physics, while not the same or as realistic as the original, feel more fun. The ball feels like it has some oomph to it, just like Devil Crash on the Mega Drive or PC Engine. The original is kinda missing that feeling. Sega's Game Gear also received a port based upon the Game Boy version, but boy, does it suck compared to the Game Boy. The issue with this port is the frame rate. It's all over the place. One moment it's smooth, then the next it's not. This is really off-putting. Something else which is off-putting is the score display at the bottom of the screen. Because it doesn't cover the whole bottom, it gives the illusion that it's covering up the flippers. Something else which is off about this game, the colours. I would have imagined this looking much nicer in colour, but in reality, the Game Boy version looks much nicer. Probably best not to play this version. Spidersoft brings SNES fans a mostly accurate conversion, including all 4 tables and near perfect sound. However, the red blood under the top bumper in the Nightmare table has been changed to blue and the crosses were removed. The overall graphics are also a little more rough looking throughout the game due to the low resolution. I wish there was more to say, but there isn't. Basically, we have a bare bones port that plays basically the same as the Amiga original, sounds almost the same and looks a little rougher. In my opinion, this should have ran in the high resolution mode of the Super Famicom, just like Ram Half does. That would have made for a much more pleasant experience. The Game Boy Advance release came under the name of Pinball Challenge Deluxe, which added tables from Pinball Fantasies. We'll concentrate on just the Pinball Dreams tables though. So as to be expected, the actual viewing area of the table is pretty narrow, and yes, this does hinder gameplay, but not as much as you would think. The game is still relatively similar to the original, besides when the ball decides to shoot down the hole between flippers. Graphically, it's not bad thanks to the tables being touched up here and there. What is most surprising though is the audio. I was ready for some ultra low fidelity hiss fest, but no, the sound is very good. Released in October 2019 by the Batman Group, or BG Games, comes this Amstrad CPC port. Now obviously this isn't an official port, but man, what an amazing job the developers have done here. We get a game that not only looks amazing for an Amstrad CPC, but also plays incredibly well. All 4 tables are present, and all have faithful reconstructions of the table's themes. Well, considering the sound limitations of the CPC. You can't buy this game, but it can be downloaded from the net. Just Google Pinball Dreams Amstrad CPC and you'll soon find it. There's also a Commodore 64 port that I can't get to load past the first splash screen. So I guess it's time to take a look at all those versions of Pinball Dreams running side by side.